Today's bonus episode about the Detroit Tigers making the playoffs is brought to you in part by today's sponsor, your local Metro Detroit Best Choice Roofing. You know, in my mind, there's one choice for roofing around here, and I'd go with your best choice. Whether it's time to replace your roof or repair it, Best Choice Roofing provides top-notch roofing services tailored to meet the unique needs of Detroit homes and businesses. They serve the region and inside the city of Detroit, too. Find out more at bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit. That's bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit, or call 313-474-7031. That's 313-474-7031. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It's a bonus edition, Sunday, September 29th, 2024. I'm Jer and Fletcher Sharp. We wouldn't be here with people on a Sunday if it wasn't a very special weekend.
The Tigers did something that some high schoolers might not have seen, and definitely some people who are under the age of 38 wouldn't have seen.
A little bit of context here. In early August, there was a 0.2 chance of the Detroit Tigers making the postseason. That was the odds. And they've clinched it against the Chicago White Sox, which are not having a great season. I got to say, as I am personally a Jason Benetti stan account, that I find a lot of sweet revenge in Jason Benetti calling the Tigers playoff win against the Sox. After all, you know, the Sox's owner is not the best spender in the world. And although the Sox were his home team, I think Jason made the right choice in switching over to the Tigers. And I'm just so glad to see all of this for him. I'm glad to see Comerica Park at standing room only. This is an energy that I feel like out of nowhere, Detroit was kind of given a gift with this.
Jason's better than me. If an organization that I have loved since a kid told me they didn't have enough money to pay me, and then I went to the rival, and the rival ended up clinching the playoff on the same day as the other team clinched the record, the worst record in Major League Baseball history in the 1900s, I'd be laughing on air. I'm not even going to lie and act. I'd be like, oh, man, another I know myself. So, true professional there, because yeah, man, it would be hard to not throw a few chuckles in there that didn't need to be had. But yeah, the Tigers have definitely turned things around. I think the most amazing thing is they did not really make that many tweaks. And one of the tweaks they made, two of them actually, a lot of people thought this is them signifying that they're done for the year. Okay, they're throwing in the towel. One of them was trading away the best player at the trade deadline. The best, maybe not their best player, but the best player that went somewhere. And Jack Flaherty, who also made the playoffs with the Dodgers. But when he left, people were like, all right, they're giving up a pretty big piece, getting some prospects, some other stuff back. Yeah, maybe they're really leaning into we're going to develop talent. And they started playing the kids more, and it's like, all right, well, yeah, they really are leaning into next year. So, you know, it stinks. You know, a lot of fans have the feeling of you let the kids play for sure, but if you're not going to make the playoffs, you're really signifying that our season's over, and we're going to let the kids develop and play better. And you have a silver sliver of hope where it's hey, maybe these kids get us to the playoffs. Maybe these kids get us something. Who knows? But they're just going to develop and play. And that 0.2% became real when the Tigers beat the White Sox and, clinched a playoff berth for the first time in quite some time. And they put one of those little decibel meters in Comerica. The sound that came off could have caused an earthquake if it had gone on for a little bit longer, which scary, but also that's pretty impressive.
It's been 10 years since we've been in the playoffs. I remember that playoff run. And the last time we won a championship was 40 years ago. And to think about how many fans have been suffering for so long that to even have this opportunity. And now that we've got two of the top sports clubs for sure in the playoffs, in the Lions and the Tigers, it's almost like a little bit of a Detroit sports renaissance.
Yeah, the Detroit Tigers are really known by the younger crowd, a lot less for their play on the field and a lot more for the fact that they had one of the most iconic logos in all of sports with the Old English D. So it's really great to actually have them experience the Tigers being well, because a lot of them missed out on, like, the Bobby Higginson era, the era right after, and just they really walked into there's some people who are like Miguel Cabrera, and it's like, this is one of the greatest hitters ever, but because they came into the sport later and at the end of his career after the Triple Crown, they're like, this guy's a bum. And just to actually see them understand and like watch this young team mature into a wild card spot it's one of those, Disney stories, like the Hallmark stories you go and you look at and they have like some fictional baseball team in some really made up town. They let the kids play finally, and all of a sudden the team starts turning around a little bit, and then they freeze frame at the end and it's like they made the playoffs, and then you have to read the story and it's like, I don't know, something else. But here's to hoping the Tigers have a much more memorable ending than that.
I look at a few different pieces. I think some of those younger players are doing great. I think you see kind of a rise of Spencer Torkelson, somebody who a lot of people have been looking to produce more, and I think he's stepped up better. And I think that bullpen has been something special.
That last point, the bullpen has had to step up, because that's really been like the years they've been good. It's because they've had either a few great setup men, an okay closer, a great closer, and, kind of a rocky bullpen. And yeah, the reason why they've been held back has been their hitting as of late, but also the last few years, their bullpen has been like atrocious. Like the few times they would get a lead, it would get lost because it put in some pitchers who don't know what they're doing. And the next thing you know, a 4-2 lead is now all of a sudden 9-4. And it's like, yeah, well, we have fallen out. And just to see that grow is great. Torkelson, his average is still needs to come up a little bit, but he's really assumed. You like to see people come to the city. You always want to see people like Aiden Hutchinson, who are from the area, embrace the challenge of playing here. But like, they understand it because they're here. It's always great to see people not from the Midwest, not from Michigan, get born into it and then understand, like, I have to play for a city that very much cares about its teams. We have to go out there. We have to play well. We have to do these things. And to see him kind of embrace it, and again, average is still not great, but he's finding a way to help this team get over the hump. And that's really what you want in a player that you're going to try to build around.
I saw some Instagram posts, I think a Instagram post of Javi Baez practicing down in Florida. And I don't know. I don't want anything to mess with the chemistry of this team at this point. Like, I'm really worried to mess with anything.
Yeah, I feel really bad because, like, it is his fault. Like, he's swinging at pitches that are, like, nowhere near where the bat is. But it's not like he's doing it intentionally to be like, I'm hoping not. Where he's like, I want this team to lose, whatever. So, like, I feel bad that it happened to coincide with when he got hurt, and then also when his playing time kind of diminished for the moment. Because you're a good teammate and you're like, we're winning, but like, it has to kind of sting where they're winning because I'm not playing. Like, that's like a big ego check, especially when you are one of the highest paid players in the league. To see your team playing that much better when you are on the bench for whatever reason has to really sting. But to your point, like, I feel like maybe you don't get activated for the playoff run. Like, maybe our roster is maybe just a smidge too small for you to make the playoff roster, because they're playing well and you're not there. And we really don't want to rock the boat, especially because, as we've mentioned, the playoffs don't really happen here as often as we'd like.
So as we're recording this, it is unclear who our opponent will be. We are going to be getting on a plane, and it's either going to be to Houston to face the Astros or to Baltimore to face the Orioles. Which one would you rather face?
Honestly, the Orioles. The Orioles feel like a tougher matchup for the Tigers, but I think it would really do a lot of people's heads in to have them get knocked out of the playoffs by Verlander. I think that would probably not. That would feel like Santa Claus is real and he's the reason why your parents divorced. You don't want that feeling. So yeah, I'd much rather Baltimore. Again, Baltimore is a pretty tough matchup. I mean, in terms of winning, I think Houston's probably a more winnable matchup. But yeah, just the image of Verlander helping the team go back to Detroit would be up there, burned in my head with that Robert Horry gesture after he hit that 3 against the Pistons and the championship after they won, the one they lost to the Spurs. That image is seared in my head, and I feel like next to it would be Verlander celebrating a strikeout as someone's going back to the dugout, sad. I don't want that image. I don't think many Tigers fans do, to be honest.
Would we have this whole thing with like we did with Stafford and the Lions? Like, are we past this?
Yes and no. I think people would want to win. I think people would give him the respect. I think also because he's gone to Houston and won. Like, it's not going to be a thing where they're like, all right, great. And then he comes back to Comerica and they're like, oh, he wants a video. He understands fully. It's been enough years. It's still just, though, whenever people mention the great pitchers in the league now, especially people in Michigan, of course, they'll mention Skubal. But, like, people will still mention Verlander and Scherzer, like, very quickly because of the respect they have for them and what they did for the organization. It would still stink to have someone who you might have grown up watching in the area, like, douse your team with gas and light a match and say good luck next year. Like, you don't want that to be the image.
I can't go without talking about Tarek Skubal a little bit because we could wax poetic about the past, but today we have, I think, what could be the best pitcher in the American League, and I think that's going to be crucial for us if we're going to make any sort of playoff run.
Oh, he has to continue how he's doing. And I don't think the reason why they win or lose will not be on him. Obviously, if he comes out that first game and lays an egg, like, they probably are not going to win that game. But second in ERA, first in Ks, second in whip. Like, he's got movement on his pitches. He's got people kind of, I hate to bring up this guy again, but kind of like how Verlander did when he went up there and he got in his mode. Like, even batters were like, yeah, I have no chance of hitting this ball. Like, I don't care what he throws. I'm probably going to either K or fly out. And Skubal's got that going right now. He's got, as the kids say, he's got that aura around him where he goes up there to throw and it's like, yeah, he's the starter we're facing. Yeah, we're probably not going to score very much today. We'll have to just hope we can win with 1 or 2. And you need to have a guy like that in order to make runs like this. So I think he'll still do okay. I think it really falls on the team's hitting, which that's one thing that really hasn't changed during this winning streak is the hitting has gotten like marginally better. And it really isn't more so that people are hitting way more. It's just the time when they are hitting is a lot more timely. They're not stringing together 3 singles and then a triple the following inning when no one's on. It's more so like single, double. They're getting people on and getting them around, still maintaining the same RBIs. You might see a game go 0-0 or 1-0 for like the first 6 innings before they score 4 random runs. They're finding ways to manufacture scoring. And like, that's, if you're not going to hit the ball over the fence every single time, which is hard to do at Comerica given the dimensions of it, you got to find ways to score. And it seems like they're really trying to do the best they can. Like the game they clinched, they got a run off of a wild pitch. Like they saw a pitch go and they said, we're going to send someone home. We're going to make sure we get something here. And like that, you got to play small ball. And I know a lot of people hate small ball because it's not the home run. You're not going to go see the Tigers play and see Aaron Judge almost every at bat, but like, you're going to see them go out there and try, push the issue, hit a single, get to the base real quick, maybe force a mistake, try to round for a double. Any mistakes you make, we're feasting on. And like, it's an admirable, gritty baseball, gritty style of play for a very gritty city.
100%. I just hope somebody gets a little hot. That would be just the perfect timing. Just a little bit hot behind the batters, in the batter's box. You know what I mean?
There are some people talking about winning a championship. In order to do, you've seen so many people who have pretty average years over the years, and just they get in the playoffs, and all of a sudden they go from being like a 221 hitter to that guy who's 14 of 29 with like 6 home runs, and it's like, okay, all right, they found their guy. So here's to hoping that they can get someone hot like that.
Well, and Skubal said, and this is a quote that stuck with me, 84 was the last year that a World Series has been won here, and we look at rewriting the history books on that. And you know what? I'm 100% on board. I would love to see a championship in this town. I know that it's an uphill battle, but once you're in the postseason, I think anything can happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, and to my point I mentioned about players coming here and embracing playing for this city, like that's a quote that lets you know that this is not just them saying, oh, I'm here for the city, I'm doing whatever. If I, in a way, you kind of want to thank Dan Campbell for bringing this energy with the Lions, but like the people who seem to come here, whether it's for football or basketball or baseball or almost any sport, people are like, I want to play for this city. I want to do something to reward the fans of this city because they've been here for me, and they've been here for me throughout the ups and the downs, and mostly downs, but now some ups. So yeah, I appreciate that. And obviously, they're going to go out there and try, but if they by chance happen to go into this wild card and get waxed by whoever, they didn't go out there and just give up. And like, while people want winners, obviously, I'm sure you can take that to build off of for next year.
Fletcher Sharp, so good to talk to you on this bonus episode. I have a feeling, we're scheduled to talk again for the Tuesday show, but I have a feeling that depending on what happens, we'll have some extra bonuses in the feed because this is an exciting time in Tiger Town.
Oh, for sure. I'm happy to talk about good Tigers baseball. This other stuff the past 10 years, no special episodes. But they keep playing the way they're playing now, we'll give them as many specials as possible.
With that, I'm Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody. Thank you so much to our members on Patreon, patreon.com/dailydetroit, for funding this project. You are appreciated. Thank you to our listeners, and we'll see you around Detroit.